Hi guys, so today I'm going to do a video about primarily IDE shortcuts and speeding you up. This is really important because you don't want to be writing a lot of boilerplate boring code. You want to build stuff, right? And you don't want to be spending your whole day typing. This is a lot of shortcuts, a lot of things that'll speed you up. Literally it'll make you 4 or 5 times faster as an engineer writing code. If you can get used to your IDE shortcuts or little things. And today I'm going to show you just a couple of tips of the more common ones that I use on a day-to-day basis. And it's mainly those common ones. There's a lot of obscure ones as well, but if you learn a lot of the common ones, it'll really speed you up. So here we go. Dive a little bit deep into some ways that you can use the IDEs to speed up your refactoring. Now I've got a basic method here that I want to talk about, where it's converting something to JSON and then returning it. What I want to do is abstract this to the responsibility of something else, and just have this method constructing the object and just returning the object, and then move the responsibility of the JSON serialization to a more central area. So the problem here is that we've got this list of objects. The objects are constructed as a dynamic, which isn't good. You shouldn't use dynamics unless you absolutely have to. And it's all weak typed. So what we want to do is we want to make this a strong typed object. So I should probably go and create a class for a strong type definition, add that to the list. But I'm going to do it the way that I would normally do this, instead of actually creating the class, is create something that doesn't exist, and then you can let the IDE create it for you. So for example, this one here, it's a list, it's a dashboard content, right? So we're going to call it a dashboard item, and that guy doesn't exist. But what we can do is just use the IDE, and we can create a type, and it'll create that type for us automatically. So let's go and do that. And now we see we've got our type created. Now he's in the same file. We'll just leave him in the same file for now. And what we'll do is, because it's nice and easy to edit stuff while they're in the same file, but then at the end of it we'll go through and clean it up and move it to separate files. So if we jump back here, now we can see here we've now got these errors because this is not a dashboard item. So I can say that this guy here is a dashboard item, and then we're now setting properties that don't exist. So what we want to do here is we want to create those properties, but instead of going to that class and actually creating the properties, we can let the IDE do it for us, because it's seeing that we're trying to set that property, and so it'll give us an option to create that property automatically, and it'll infer the type from what we're setting from it. So you can see here this TRG, that strong type, it's a transient release group, and so when we create this release group property, so we can just go create property, and it goes down to a type and automatically creates it. You can see it's got the type correct here based on the inferred type from the property we were doing before. So we can go back up here and we can do the same for the other properties that we're setting. Now there's a little bug in the IDE, so I'll actually have to do that and then that, and I can go through now and create the remaining properties. And then the other thing I want to do is like I was saying, I want to move the serialization to another part of the application in the refactoring that I'm doing. So I'm going to take out the JSON convert here, and it's going to give me an error and say, hey, this is not the type that we're expecting to return. So what I could do is I could go back up here and edit this string here and change string to the type that I want, which is a list dashboard item, but I'm not. What the IDE can do for me is, again, just control dot, and one of the options that I get, you can use the arrow keys to go up and down these options, so you don't need the mouse. I'd recommend practicing without the mouse. Try hiding your mouse if you can. It'll really speed you up as an engineer if you can learn how to program without it. And we can just change the type of the method. So if we then go up, we can see here now the method return type has changed automatically from that. So the IDE can really help you if you learn how to use it good. So another common one you're going to run into is when you're using dependency injection, right? And you're going to be adding new services into a class that you're using. So I've got an example here, and we're going to add a new dependency into this class to add some new functionality. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just edit the constructor and start to add something new. So in this case, I'm going to add this this service called a pull request state change, and then what I'm going to do is you can see the auto completion here automatically sets the correct naming for you. This is important because sometimes people abbreviate things because they don't want to type too much. You don't need to do that anymore with modern IDEs. You just type the first letter of what you want and it will auto-complete without any abbreviation. There's no extra typing. So I'll just hit enter, bang, he's in there. But now what I want to do is we have to initialize that into a read-only property, right? So it's another 2 lines of code we need to write, but because it's a repetitive code, the IDE knows. So the IDE can write that code for you. So you can see here I can just go control dot, and one of the options is to introduce a read-only field. So I can go bang to that guy, and then it will automatically add in a line that sets that, and also a read-only property that I can use to inside the class itself, and away we go. So another thing that I want to mention, guys, is the NUnit test generator. You can get test generators for a lot of different frameworks. I recommend NUnit because I work on it. You can download it through the Visual Studio Marketplace. It's got a little NUnit logo. It's right here. I've got it installed. So I'm going to show a little bit on how to use it. It'll save you writing a bit of boilerplate code. Is the main thing. So what I'm going to do is let's close this. 1 sec. And then I'm going to just create a class. So this is just a class I prepared earlier. So you can see it's got a couple of public methods and a private method. So what the test generator is going to do is it's going to create a unit test class that tests all the public methods of the class that you choose. Now, one of the things I recommend doing, and where I usually use this, is especially if I'm pairing with someone, I'll go through and I'll create the stubs. So we'll kind of create the structure of what we're going to build first with the public methods, and then the kind of push that and then go off and work separately. Yeah, so that's how I use it anyway. But we can see here it's not available in the normal context menu. You have to right click on it in Visual Studio and go create unit tests. And so I'll do that. Then I get the option for NUnit. Now I don't want to create a new test project. I've got an existing test project. I'm going to whack that in. And you can see it's got a bunch of conventions such as namespace and test class names and things like that that are kind of the default that a lot of people use, but you can tweak them yourself if you like. And then you can either have an empty body, or I prefer to do a throw an exception, just to make sure that no one actually leaves them in there and checks them in. So you can see now this is created the my class tests. Again, it's in the namespace convention that I selected, which is actually different to the one I'm using. But again, we can change that. And it hasn't created a stub for the private method, just the 2 public ones. The public methods are probably the better ones to use. We generally want black box testing, not white box testing, so that you're free to refactor things underneath. If you're doing things like writing unit tests for internal methods and things like that, and exposing internal methods to your unit test project, I would be concerned. Sometimes it's okay. It depends on what you're doing. But in general, we prefer just testing, black box testing with the public methods. So there you go. Now I can start writing my unit tests.